Good evening, folks. I'd like to welcome you to the Unionville Town Board meeting of August 6th, 2025. We'll start out with a salute to the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States. Okay, can I have a motion to approve the minutes for July 2nd, please?
So,
Second. All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Okay, thank you. I'd like to request a couple of additions to the agenda. One would be to add the senior center report. And the second to add a report from the Chamber of Commerce. Can I get a motion to that
make that
effect?
motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you again.
What do you want to add then?
I will add that the commerce after town clerk. And we will put the senior center after parks. Okay. The construction on the salt shed's underway. It's going along very well. The footings are poured and the walls are formed. They expect to pour the walls next week. I've been monitoring this and the workmanship by Darling Construction is just phenomenal. We did real well by getting this contractor to work with us. We also have the electric bid that we're going to entertain later in the meeting. And that worked out to be more than $20,000 less than the electric allotment that was in the general bid. So that's going to result in that savings to the town. This past month, I've received a number of complaints from residents here about unregistered vehicles, driving recklessly on town roads, several locations. One of them resulted in a property damage accident and we have notified the sheriff's department, asked them to see if they could increase patrols here in town. That's all I have for that. That brings us to the board member reports. Councilman Dorland.
The only thing I want to report on is also the salt shed. I've been stopping by periodically and Steve is right. They're really doing a stand-up job. So it's going well.
Okay. Councilman McGivney.
Been working on the Hometown Heroes project that is moving forward. Would also like to wish the best town clerk in all of Dutchess County a happy birthday. And that's all I have for this week.
All righty. Councilman Welsh.
Likewise, I've been wanting to wish Andrew a happy birthday. Otherwise, nothing much else.
Okay. Councilman Harrington.
Yeah, I've been speaking to our temporary building inspector. So far, I think he's doing a pretty good job. And he seems to be getting a grasp of things very quickly.
Okay. Town clerk report.
Thank you. Thank you for all the wishes. I won't steal Frank's thunder tonight because he's here to talk about the Balloon Fest. But of course, thanks to him and the chamber, we do have the reduced tickets available for sale through my office. And that will be basically up until the event. And then secondly, the DEC sportsman's license are available for hunting season. It began August 1st. If you're interested in doe tags, Dutchess County is high for second and first probability. That's all I have.
Hey, thank you very much. Frank, what's your title? Is it president? Okay, so I would like to introduce Frank Castella, president of the Dutchess County Regional Chamber of Commerce.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. I am Frank Castella Jr. I'm the president for the Dutchess County Regional Chamber of Commerce. Also a town of Unionville resident on 299 Waterbury Hill Road. Moved here 6 years ago and never looked back. It's just such a wonderful community to be a part of. So I did bring with me tonight some handouts. I will pass them around because we'll be talking about some of those. Most of which you are probably familiar with from year over year, with the exception of some of the new individuals may not be familiar with these maps that I'm handing out, but I'll explain them. As you're doing that, I want to thank you for welcoming us back here for the 6th year. I can't believe we've been here for 6 years. This started during COVID, for those folks that may not remember. At the time, we were previously at the Dutchess County Fairgrounds with this event. And the fairgrounds during that time frame was closed. We contacted the town of Unionville, looking at the topography here at Time War Park. We were able to utilize the upper field and marked out spaces for cars to park and camp and overlook the lower field to do it safely during COVID. So it turned out to be such a great experience for us. We thought perhaps we could make a go of operating the entire festival here. We have done so for the last 6 years subsequently. And as a result, it has been extremely successful. While we can't accommodate the sheer number of individuals that we could up at the fairgrounds, we like this. In fact, our balloonists that come here tell us it's their favorite festival that they go to throughout the country, including some of the largest ones like Albuquerque out in New Mexico, where they get well over 1,000 hot air balloons. So this is a pretty exciting venture. This year, we're hosting somewhere around 25 hot air balloons once again, same as last year. We're expecting the same type of audience, hoping for great weather once again. But I will take you through some of the changes that we have. As Andrea has already mentioned, we are offering the town of Unionville residents discounted tickets, and we appreciate them lending us the park during that time frame. Obviously, there's a lot that goes into the details of this event. We start immediately from the moment that we tear down here at Time War Park and we clean up. We are planning for the following year with our board of directors, as well as a team inside of our office. We have a full events department and a communications team. So we try to, year over year, improve on some of the things that we have learned from one year to the next. And some of the things that we are going to be changing are minor, and there really aren't any major changes that you will see as we go throughout this year. And it's basically programming some minor layout changes. We will not have a carnival. Back 2 years ago, we brought a carnival in, and this year it just didn't work out. We were trying to get a new operator, but for whatever reason, that didn't pan out. So we're going to be using that space in the lower parking lot this year to put most of the food trucks in. And it's going to allow us to spread out some more hot air balloons, be able to put them on the field in a more spread out fashion, so that way the balloonists have a better area for their performance. So that was one of the asks of the hot air balloonists, if they could get a bigger, better field. And we were looking at different areas of the park. In fact, we were looking at behind the pool, and we love that little area that's straight behind the pool. And we thought we'd love to activate that side of the road. But as we talked about it and we were going through the planning process, we just decided that side of the road is better off being left alone. Just because of programmatically getting people over there is a challenge, explaining to people where things are and the separation of the way the park is. It's really not designed for that type of event, although someday maybe that might be a dream of ours to be able to utilize that space, because it's so wonderful over there with the pavilions and being able to use the amphitheater. But we just think the way we have it set up for now is going to work best. We have renewed our partnership with JP Morgan Chase and Company. They will be back as our premier sponsor once again this year. Botini Fuel back as fueling the hot air balloons. And of course, iHeartMedia of the Hudson Valley will be back as our media sponsor. A lot of the same partnerships year over year. Very pleased with the outcomes that we're seeing year over year and the accommodations that are provided to us here at Time War. The event overview, of course, is Labor Day weekend. Once again, it's a little earlier this year, so we are really ahead of the game, trying to be in front of all the planning And it falls on the 29th, 30th, and 31st this year. So we're fully in August. There's no September dates. Our plan is to be here that Monday to try to start getting set up. We have new fencing that we purchased this year, which is temporary fencing. Some of you might be familiar with it as what is used as crowd control, formal crowd control fencing, as opposed to the temporary construction fencing that we've had put up in the past. So we're going to try that out this year, see how it goes. It should be a lot faster, quicker, easier to move, and certainly more formidable for the event. We have copies in front of you of the schedule. There's also copies of the layout map that shows you the parking plan and strategy, along with the layout of the vendors, which is somewhat tentative. That may change with a vendor moving one spot to another based on how someone tells us whether they need to leave or they're open in the morning for breakfast or something like that. But very minor, that'll change. Overall, that should be 95 to 98% done at this point in time. Also in front of you is a letter that we sent out to, or actually hand delivered to the surrounding area of Time Moore Park. So all the way down, of course, Duncan 2 into the town of Beekman, but down Dorn Road, of course, out Shaughnessy and all of Brusgill, Liberty Way, and then even going out to Clove and so forth. So we covered quite a wide area and hit some of those back roads as well, just to notify the residents that this is going on. That there may be traffic in the area at that time. We're doing our best to mitigate that. If they have questions or concerns, they can certainly call me. I put my number on there and all of our contact information. And thus far, that went out about 2 weeks ago, and I have not heard any commentary from anyone, which is a good sign. Typically, I would get 1 or 2 calls from some residents out of concern of, I just don't want them landing in my yard, or perhaps, we're concerned about traffic, or we have animals, if they could, try to avoid the area. And with hot air ballooning, it's difficult to avoid areas, obviously, because they don't have much steerage. So they do their best, if there are animals, as pilots, to avoid those areas if they can see down below, recognizing that there are animals in those areas. We've run into that in the past. And particularly last year, we had a horse farm that had animals that were in a running shed. The pilot didn't see them, so he went to land, and then they came out of the shed and took off. So he did frighten the animals. No one was injured. No horses or animals were injured, but that does happen on occasion where a pilot is doing their best to mitigate those type of risks. But by and large, that is avoidable for the most part. And my experience in being in this for nearly 30 years, they are very respectable of certainly the property owners, the animals, and so forth. So we have some really great commercial pilots. And I mentioned commercial pilots purposely because we really don't allow private pilots to fly at this festival. That's something that's different about this festival that makes us a little bit more unique. A lot of festivals will take just about any pilot that has a license. Difference being, just like in a fixed wing industry, lighter than air, they have 2 types of licenses. One is a private, one is a commercial pilot. We prefer a commercial pilot based on experience, time, and so forth. We will have a couple of local pilots that do have licenses that are local, and we will allow them to fly under the private license. But there's, I believe, only 2 or 3 of those that are local individuals. They're well known, certainly been in this. In fact, those that are flying here have flown in this particular festival for the last 30, 40 years that it's been here. So they're very experienced pilots as well. And they can't obviously fly paying passengers as a private pilot. It's also a point of note. Also in front of you are red zone maps. Those are maps that we have been collecting data over the years. Those maps highlight the areas that we ask the pilots to avoid. There are certain properties that are earmarked from some of our residents that have asked us just not to land there for whatever reason, whether they have crop or perhaps they have animals or perhaps they just don't want the pilots on their property. And the pilots now with technology have this on their phone live, so they're able to see that data in real time. So they're able to avoid those areas. Mindful. In the past, we've even had incidences where the winds were so light and variable that they were concerned that they would land in some of those properties because they're so close to the park here. When you have no wind. That's just as a concern as too much wind, if you have places that they can't land. So, in fact, we had to cancel a couple of flights over the last couple of years because of some of those properties that are on that map. It's not a concern for them. You know, this is typical wherever they go. So we're just being respectful of the residents and just know that that is something that we do. It's not about totally pleasing the crowd. We also have neighbors to be mindful of. Certainly, that's a big piece of this. We did have a meeting with the Department of Emergency Response. I want to thank the supervisor because he did come along with us on that meeting. Dutchess County questioned whether or not they should meet with us, and we extended with open arms to be able to show them our entire plan of what goes on here. This is not unusual. I have met with the Department of Emergency Response on several occasions over the years. In fact, we used to pull a mass gathering permit when we did it at the fairgrounds, and I still abide by everything in that mass gathering permit with a couple of small exceptions because we don't have the crowds to have to file for a mass gathering permit. But I still feel as though it is our duty to make sure that our crowds are safe, that we're abiding by, certainly their guidance and their guidelines in Dutchess County, but also the state's guidelines. And we follow that mass gathering permit, including going above and beyond by training our staff. Now, the staff who are there go through crowd control training, and they're also, many of them are experienced by going through not only this event, but many others. We run about 160 events during the course of the year at the chamber. And of course, not as large as this, all of them, but some of them had 500-600 people. They're indoors mostly for the most part, but it is good for us to have that experience and also knowledge of how to handle a large crowd in an outdoor environment. So we just completed that training with our entire staff this past week. Again, that's not a requirement, but it's something I ask our staff to do above and beyond. So some of those things that they do require us is to notify the local municipality, notify obviously your emergency response and control in the area to let them know that this event is happening. They may send some folks out just to peruse the area, just so they can get familiar with the layout and check the tenting and check some of the things. Of course, that includes working with the Department of Health because we do have a significant number of food trucks that come on site. Most of those are repeat vendors. And that's because they are so successful here. We also have a track record with them. We know that they're good, they're quality, they're not doing things that they shouldn't be doing. They're wearing gloves, they're doing things per Department of Health's recommendation and code. And that's what we're after. And I've been known to cut several of them out. In fact, I'm not returning several vendors this year that I just was not pleased with the quality of the operations from last year. And that's common. We do that from year over year. And we do have a couple of new vendors this year, but we try our best to vet them. This is a juried event. Everybody has to send photos in advance. So that's unusual for an event like this. I need to see their setup. I want to make sure there's no handwritten signs. I want to make sure that the quality of their operation is up to par to the standards of the quality of the event that we're trying to produce. Anything else, Supervisor, that you can think of that came up at that meeting with the Department of Emergency Response?
I would just add that the county is very eager to work with us on that and have offered some of their services to us. You've seen those portable message boards that are on the side of the road. They're going to bring a couple of those out to be placed, warn of the crowd condition and traffic condition in the area here. So yeah, it's a good partnership.
Right. So that was one of the wasn't a demand. It wasn't anything that they required, but they asked or offered, I should say, if we wanted to use their digital messaging boards, we could do so. And they suggested maybe two, one out on Route 55, just to notify people in the week leading up to it that the event is coming, avoid the area type thing, to let locals know.
Or
the other
come.
one, pardon?
Or come.
Or come. The other one would be on the S curve, actually on the park property where the trailhead is, coming down on Brusville Road to slow traffic down. Each year I do put signage out down there to slow traffic. In fact, I ordered more for this year to slow traffic on that hill. Every year I add more to that. But this year they'd like to see a message board sign up there, which will be helpful. So they've agreed to do that, and they will be dropping them off. I haven't heard otherwise. We filled out the permit. They told us that it was good to go. So that's a nice new change in safety addition. very similar to past events. There will be, of course, entertainment all weekend long. We go through the SLA permit process for the State Liquor Authority. As you know, that they're pretty rigorous with how that works, and the company we work with for that is the same as we've always used. They're very easy to work with, and they assist us in that process. The entertainment that we have decided to go with this year is local, 2x2, right here, Unionville residents as well. So they'll be here with their full display like they do at the Dutchess County Fair. So we're very pleased to be able to do that, support someone local as well. Insurance coverage, we switched companies for the first time last year. Very happy with the responsiveness, and their coverage was above and beyond what we previously had. I did bring a copy of that with me. I think it was in that
Yeah.
file there. That has been bound. I was just waiting on the property coverage, which is additional property. So that's just things like the golf car rentals and the light tower rentals and that. But this has also the certs in there as well. The town has also been sent their certification, certificate of insurance to add you as additionally insured. And that coverage is also a $5 million policy for bodily injury, property damage. So again, that's better coverage than what we had carried in years past, just recognizing that today everything costs more. So there is an injury, we want to make sure that we are covered additionally for that, exposing the town or us for that matter. So do our best to mitigate that. Traffic flow and pedestrian crossing is the same plan that we've used over the past several years, just with some new additions of added temporary fencing. So that's going to help us. Also additional signage. I spent another $4,000 on signage this year. All the little things behind the scenes that people don't realize that we spend money on to try to improve year over year. Just the fencing alone was $14,000. Had significant equipment upgrades in that we wanted to do for making this much safer and easier for everyone. So all of that is put into this year's budget, implemented. Same number of light towers as in the past, so that we have evening lighting, 11 units. It seems to work well. We seem to have good coverage. We did add a couple last year for the first time in some spots we thought were a little dark, and that worked out perfectly well. New York State Troopers will be here to support our constables. We've asked them to come to the town, and year over year, they're very gracious with us in doing that. They typically will send us 2 patrol cars throughout the course of the weekend. We did add additional private security, just recognizing that we wanted to speed up the process on the ticketing and the bag checks. And again, that's something that we do. It's not something that's a requirement by the state. I'm just adamant about making sure that this is not a soft target here. Any type of event where you have any sizable crowd becomes a soft target. And I want to make sure that we are doing this in a safe manner. And that is the best step that we can take, is going through doing bag searches, including, don't like doing it, but including going through baby carriages of that nature. I even go above and beyond, and I don't allow people to bring in liquids just as they do at the airports, but I guess they're going to be going a little bit lax on that. So we may change that policy next year. We'll see. But our private security has been ramped up. Bathrooms, same capacity as we've had in the past. Fireworks show again by Legion Fireworks, same as that you use here in the town of Unionville. Garbage cleanup. I am adamant about leaving this place better than we found it. In fact, I think I mentioned this last year. I personally go down the road, Duncan Road, because I know when people leave here, they throw stuff out their windows, and I send the crews out there, and I go behind them, make sure they don't do a good enough job. I send them back out 4 times last year. I sent them back out there, and they weren't happy with me, but they needed to know that it was going to be a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the way it should be. In fact, we were cleaning up stuff I knew was there before, but that's okay. That's fine. That's part of it. There was stuff on the side of Duncan Road, garbage bags, black plastic
Yeah,
bags.
we do have a $500 littering fine here.
Yeah. I'd like to enforce that. Be a little tough with that crowd.
Yeah.
A couple of these things I already covered. So I think we're in pretty good shape. The only other thing is that I will get with George the day of opening. It's usually that Friday morning, and he'll come through and take a look at the tenting and make sure that none of the vendors have grills under the tent. The town obviously has their code with respect to requirements of vendors and having a fire extinguisher in the tent. We required all that anyway before we came here, but George does like to come down and make that final inspection. In fact, last year, 2 years ago, I think he did have a vendor that came in and they were setting up a grill under a tent. So we still monitor that anyway. We were going behind and we always go through before we open to make sure that everything is set. People are following those instructions. With that, I'll open it up to the floor for questions and certainly do my best to answer anything you have or not get you the information.
I got one question. We gonna be able to park the ambulance where we usually park?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
there should be a red spot.
Yeah,
on
there is.
there.
Okay.
It's so
Just
tiny.
wanted
It
to
does say
double check.
ambulance.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's to use help. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, and then I leave that lane, the fire lane there, 20 foot or more is usually what I look for.
I must say, it's always well organized and well managed. Glad you're
Thank you.
back.
Yeah, we have a pretty good team. So,
Very good.
anyone else?
Well, I do want to thank you for coming back. And John mentioned, and I will mention as well, I think I've said this to you before, it's one of the best organized events that I've been to here. And we
Well, thank
appreciate
you.
you coming back, and it's a fun time for everyone.
Well, we want to come back, that we love it here. And quite honestly, your crew is phenomenal. And I say that every year, and I'm not just saying that, but the town parks crew is wonderful to work with. If we have a question, they are nobody ever had an attitude here. No one ever was upset. We were never in anyone's way. They're always so accommodating. And we just appreciate that because we don't get that everywhere we go. That's, like I said, we do 160 in the course of a year. So
Wow.
you can imagine the venues
Yeah.
that we go, that you can run up against some challenges, but your crew here is phenomenal. Right on down to the constables too. And constables, we worked with the sheriff's department here in Dutchess County in previous years. And I'll say they're just on par, if not better than what we dealt with at the sheriff's department, willing to lend a hand. In fact, last year, you may recall, they made signage to put on the fencing that said town ordinance, keep back 10 feet from the fence by police order. And they went on the printer in their office and printed them out. This year I had them professionally made on plastic. So that way, it looks nice and professional, but I just thought, what a nice idea. And for them to be able to do that and go above and beyond was just appreciated. So we certainly appreciate all the entire team that helps us to put it together. So once again, thanks for having us back. If you have any questions, you can always call me. My phone number was on that form as well. So
Ready.
Thanks very much.
I'll just remind
Thanks,
I'll remind our residents again that you can get your discounted tickets through the town clerk. They must be purchased in person. And that's to prove residency. So she'll have them available up to.
Yeah, up to
The event.
Yep.
Thank you very much, Frank.
Thanks, Frank.
Okay, that brings us to the Recreation Department report. Councilman Welsh, would you like to read that, please?
Sure. Okay. We are heading toward our final session of our summer camp programs. Our whole team has been enjoy helping to ensure all campers have the best summer possible, great outdoors. Thanks to you, 2x2 Animal Haven, Robinson's Wildlife, and Charlie the Rabbit and Bubble Factory for the fun shows that they put on for our campers for the past 3 sessions. We are looking forward to welcoming campers back to the next section and ending the summer season having fun in the sun at Time Warp Park. Our team is excited to host the town's annual Oktoberfest event at Time Warp Park, scheduled for September 14th, noon till 7 p.m. Tickets are $5 per person, and children 5 years old and younger enter for free. Residents, family, and friends can enjoy the whole day of traditional dramatic food, drinks, games, music, dancing, and contest prizes for competitors scheduled throughout the event. Additionally, we will once again have the NFL room where we'll be projecting and streaming your favorite New York team football game during the event. Pre-sale tickets can be found by clicking on the Oktoberfest flyer on the town's website. There'll be an option to purchase tickets at the door using cash or credit. Further details on games, prizes, and more will be posted on our website and social media pages within the coming weeks. Look forward to seeing everyone there.
Okay, thank you. That brings us to the Parks report, Councilman Harrington.
Yes. Parks report for 8/6/2025. We have cleared all of the downed limbs and found on the trails from the storm last week. The pool has been running well. Our chlorine supplier had some issues with late deliveries, so we had to get some 5-gallon jugs to tide us over for a weekend. But the last few deliveries have been on time and they seem to have solved their issue. The old dump truck has been cleaned up and the spreader and plow have been mounted on it. The auction company came out early this week and took pictures of that and their old brush hog to list. There was a problem with some metal plumbing for the downstairs bathroom at number 11 rental house. We were able to replace the damaged pipe and repair the sheetrock that we had to cut out. The alarm system for the equipment shed has been on the fritz. We have been working with Doyle to get it fixed. The water at Godfrey Park was down for a few days, but was fixed earlier this week.
And I can make a couple updates to this list here. They did receive their chlorine delivery today. So that one's been resolved. The surplus equipment is now listed on AAR's site. So we should have results for that for our next meeting. And then the outcome with the alarm system was they found a broken wire and repaired that, so that has been fixed as well. So that, I don't see the vice president.
Oh,
Okay.
she's not coming.
Okay, so several meetings ago, she had asked permission to apply for a grant with the county. And a couple days ago, we received notice that we have been granted the grant. It's $20,000 to make improvements to the senior center, one of which will be to replace the door openers going in and some other list of things that they had put together to improve down there.
Yeah, I
So,
think the flooring's-
okay. We certainly appreciate her putting that effort forward and thank the county for considering us. Okay, so that brings us to public comment on agenda items. Anyone? Alrighty. So new business. I had sent you all an email that George had an extended leave for medical leave. And the deputy building inspector had asked if he could work the full-time hours during his absence to keep the department on schedule. I checked with both the civil service and our attorney. Both said that the deputy building inspector meets the requirements. And the attorney added that our verbiage in the job description says that he's to take the place of the building inspector in his absence. So we would just need a simple motion here from the floor to approve the increase in hours. The funds are available because we had appointed a full year's worth of salary, but he wasn't hired until March. So there is some funding available prior to that, to cover that. And so I just need a motion then to allow the deputy building inspector to serve as the full-time building inspector in his absence.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Okay, the parks manager did come up with an employee that he was happy with to fill the vacancy left by a retired employee. And we have that here in front of us. It's a resolution to go ahead and move forward with that. Councilman Derlin, would you like to read that for us, please?
Sure. Town of Unionville Town Board Resolution number 49 of 2025. Resolution ratifying hiring maintenance helper for the Parks Department. Whereas the town of Unionville had an immediate need for a maintenance helper for the Parks Department. And whereas the position of maintenance helper is a non-competitive position pursuant to the rules for the classified civil service of Dutchess County. And whereas the town board of the town of Unionville determined it is necessary and appropriate to hire a maintenance helper for the Parks Department. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. The recitations above set forth are incorporated in this resolution as if fully set forth and adopted herein. The town board of the town of Unionville hereby ratifies the hiring of Austin Beach to the position of maintenance helper at a salary of $21.50 per hour, 40 hours per week, which employment commenced on July 29, 2025. Austin Beach's salary will be paid from the parks personnel budget line, number A 7110.1 retroactively to July 29, 2025. The town board hereby authorizes and directs the town supervisor and the town bookkeeper to file any and all documentation necessary to effectuate the intent of this resolution.
I have a second on that.
I'll second.
Any discussion? He has been working out very well and, I think it's a good choice here. So, we'll have a roll call vote, please.
Councilman Harrington,
Yes.
Councilman Welsh.
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier.
Aye.
Councilman McGivney.
Aye.
Councilman Durland.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Cindy's very handsome.
Yes. As we discussed previously, the amount of the general contractor quote for the salt shed exceeded the limit that would require us to break down some of the subcontracted work. The electrical portion of that brought us below that threshold. We received 2 bids, I believe, 2 bids on it. And the lowest bid was approved by both the engineer and the attorney. And we have a resolution here to accept that bid. And as I mentioned before, the end result is a savings of over $20,000 on the job in total. Councilman McGivney, would you like to read that one?
Sure. Town of Unionville, Town Board Resolution 50 of 2025. Resolution awarding electrical contract for the Town of Unionville Highway Garage Salt Shed Replacement Project. Whereas the Town Board, the Town of Unionville has previously authorized town engineer to prepare bid specifications and contracts documents for the removal and replacement of an existing 3,500 square foot salt shed at the Town of Unionville Highway Garage. And whereas pursuant to General Municipal Law, Section 101, independent prime contractors must be used for all plumbing, HVAC, electrical, general construction work. And whereas bids and specifications for electrical work, salt shed were prepared by Rennie Engineering Design, LLC. And whereas bids were duly advertised and solicited, and the following bids were received, open, and read aloud by the town clerk. Bid Hudson Electrical Contracting LLC for $27,800. LBS 2020 LLC for $27,000. Whereas a letter dated August 1st, 2025, the town engineer advised that the lowest responsible bidder was LBS 2020 LLC. Recommends that the town board award the electrical contract to LBS 2020 LLC. Total amount of $27,000 as set forth in the aforementioned recommendation letter, a copy of which is annexed here 2 and made part of Hero. Now therefore be it resolved the following. 1, recitation set forth are incorporated in this resolution as it is fully set forth and adopted herein. 2, Town Board of the Town of Unionville hereby awards the electrical contract for Town of Unionville Highway Garage Salt Shed Project to LBS 2020 LLC. Total amount of $27,000. 3, in accordance with the authorized bid specification, the town board hereby authorizes the supervisor to execute contract documents as prepared by the engineers to the town, including a notice of award, notice to proceed, and forward a copy to LBS 2020 LLC after the attorney of the town has confirmed that LBS 2020 LLC has duly executed the contracts documents supplied, necessary performance bond, labor and materials payment bond, and provided insurance certificates required by the bid specifications.
Okay, second on that, please.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All righty, roll call vote, please.
Councilman Harrington,
Yes.
Councilman Welsh.
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier.
Aye.
Councilman McGivney.
Aye.
Councilman Durland.
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. I'd like to just kind of piggyback on that for a second. The town engineer called me today and relayed to me that he found a contract or a surveyor to do work for the West Clove Mountain Bridge project. We have a couple other survey jobs that we need to have done as well. And one of which is to consolidate the highway garage properties. And then the second one I mentioned was Westman Road. And excuse me, I proposed maybe that combining all three of those, we might get a better price on the work in its entirety.
Sure, yeah.
If we were to go that route. So I wanted to get the feelings of the board on that. And then procedure, I guess it may put us over the threshold for a formal bid.
Not sure that it would be that high, to be quite
Okay.
honest, but I do know surveyors are a little hard to find right now.
Right, yeah, they're
Little
difficult,
overwhelmed, too,
they're
so.
busy. In fact, I think he said he only had one, he put out 4 feeler, put out to 4 companies, the job proposal, only got 1 return.
I mean, we could do just put together a quick RFP for that, put it out, and then see the response. We could list out each project.
Right.
Sounds like good.
Yeah.
Down the route you want to go?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that then.
Attractive, you got fine,
Right, and we'll get it all done at once.
yeah,
And we need to do it anyway.
Right,
yeah, it's gotta
Right.
get done.
You'll,
excuse me.
you're likely to get a better response if you have more work.
That's was the other thought I had. Yeah, there might be more
Yeah.
surveyors interested with the
Makes sense.
with the higher rate of work.
And it's all close enough together that, the person
Well-
doesn't have to go cross county.
No, it's only 15 minutes,
Intercounty.
one at a
Yeah,
time,
right.
the other, so.
Yep,
Okay, so I will get that in motion. I mentioned to you that the payroll clerk had come to me and saw a discrepancy in our vacation policy here. And I think you can see that the first and second sentences in it contradict each other.
yeah,
Just want to get your feel on what the intent was here, and we need to clarify that. My personal thought is that a first year employment would qualify you for a 1-week vacation. And the way I understand it, then you can access that after 6 months probation.
I would agree with that.
So I think if everybody's in agreement with that, or if you have another idea, I'd like to hear it. We would rewrite that then to reflect that more clearly.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Considering.
yeah,
Great.
simplest approach.
Okay, so we'll get the verbiage together then for the next meeting. All righty. Greenway Trails. The Greenway Trails, it's called the Hudson River Valley Greenway, has offered a grant to towns in the Hudson Valley, one of them being us, to improve the trail systems within the county. One of the, it would, there's a number of different improvements that are qualified for it. But it does have a 50-50 contribution, so, we would have to contribute 50% of it. I had spoken with the parks manager about this. And a brush head to go on the highway excavator would be a useful tool to him to go through and keep the edges of the trails cut back.
Sure.
I estimate that to be about $15,000 in total. So with, if we got approved for the grant, it'd be about $7,500 from us. That would likely have to come from fund balance. Because we had the repairs, the expensive repairs on that truck. Yeah, that kind of depleted that line. So wanted to get a feel for where you were on that. If you're interested in going there, I can, do the application and see where it comes.
I think it's worth a shot.
Okay.
Yeah, if, there's certainly a need to do that trimming on the trail, so 50% match would be great.
Yeah, it would certainly speed the process.
Yeah,
Are there any stipulations that come with that grant? Because our park is only open to town residents.
Yeah, no, I read that pretty thoroughly and I didn't see anything that would affect us. And I can have the attorney look at it as well.
We've gotten a Greenway grant pass.
We have,
Oh,
okay,
good.
all right.
Good. I think it's a good idea.
Did it require a written resolution? Some grants require a written resolution.
We will go, yeah, when we get to that point. Yeah, we will require a written resolution. And I can go over that with you.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. Old business. We have the resolution to amend the employee handbook clarifying certain holidays. I guess I can read that. It's Unionville Town Board Resolution number 51 of 2025, resolution amending section 4.3 holidays of the Town of Unionville Employee Handbook. Whereas section 4.3 of the Town of Unionville Employee Handbook sets forth the town's policy with respect to holidays. And whereas the town board of the Town of Unionville wishes to amend the holidays policy in section 4.3 to address how handle holidays that fall on Friday. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. The recitations above set forth are incorporated in this resolution as if fully set forth and adopted herein. Section 4.3 holidays of the Town of Unionville Employee Handbook shall be amended to read as follows. The holidays observed are New Year's Day, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, President's Day, Memorial Day, Independence Day, Labor Day, Columbus Day, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving Day, day after Thanksgiving, and Christmas Day. Any employee scheduled or called in to work Easter Sunday shall receive a paid holiday off or be paid at the applicable holiday rate for all hours worked. Easter Sunday shall not be considered a paid holiday for any employee who does or would not work that day. In the event a town designated holiday or federally designated in lieu of holiday falls on a Friday, part-time and full-time employees will receive an additional day's pay for that Friday. If an employee is normally scheduled to work on Friday, they shall receive a paid holiday off or be paid at the applicable holiday rate for all hours worked. Employees will be expected to work their regular work week previous to the Friday holiday. The Unionville Town Board at their scheduled meeting in January of each year will determine a holiday schedule for the following calendar year. And additionally, the Unionville Town Board may amend the holiday schedule at any time during the years at their sole discretion. This resolution will take effect immediately. A copy of this resolution shall be added and included to the Town of Unionville and handbook, and a copy of this resolution shall be distributed to all town employees and elected officials. Second on that, please.
Second.
Any discussion? I'll just review for the residents. Because we are open here Monday through Thursday and off on Friday. The employees will still receive the holiday. And not take an additional day off during the week, which we feel would inconvenience the residents. I did determine that there are 4 holidays that are affected by that. It's New Year's Day, Veterans Day, Christmas. What was the 4th?
Yeah, that's good.
No, it's always a Friday. I don't recall what they make. Was it Memorial Day? Thanksgiving's always Thursday. Yes, July 4th. Thank you. It's July 4th, Independence Day. So this occurs once every 6 years. And there's 4 holidays, so it's not a tremendous impact on the budget. And not one of them would occur simultaneously within the same year. So minimal impact on the budget and minimal then effect on services to the residents. So,
Very fair.
yeah. So we'll do a roll call vote.
Councilman Harrington,
Yes.
Councilman Welsh.
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier.
Aye.
Councilman McGivney,
Aye.
Councilman Derlin.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Any public comment on town issues? Okay, have a motion to pay the bills.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Our next meeting will be August 27th. That is 1 week later than normal. Couple of us have a couple of contradictions here on our part. So we will meet on the 27th here at 7:30 PM.
Good idea.
And I'll have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thanks for coming, folks.